So before kind of diving into my presentation, I would just kind of like to make a little disclaimer about when talking about any religion in general, there's always going to be a lot of variation, whether you're talking about a Christian religion where there's Catholics, there's Protestants, and all the different forms. Likewise, this is also true for the religion of Islam. So today I'm going to be presenting on the variations in the religion of Islam. So before going into an overview, I would just like to talk about Islam itself, which is derived from the word salam, which means peace in Arabic. And whenever you are meeting someone who speaks Arabic, they will always greet you by saying Assalamu alaikum, which is their way of saying peace be with you. So for just a general overview of what I'm going to cover in this discussion, I'm going to give a brief explanation of the religion of Islam itself. I'm going to talk about places around the world in which it is taught. I'm going to highlight the two main branches of Islam itself. I'm going to talk about hijab usage, and then finally I'm going to connect this all back to the text. So for looking at the basics of Islam, it is the second leading monotheistic religion. So it is led by Christianity and then followed by Judaism. And they also believe in many prophets. So they have prophets like Muhammad, Noah, Abraham. They believe Jesus was a prophet. They worship God directly, which is different from Christian religions like Catholics, who, when they want to speak to God and they want to confess their sins, they have to go to the priest and do it through that, whereas in Islam, they do this directly. They have a direct connection and dialect with God. They use the Quran as their holy text, which was delivered from Muhammad from the angel Gabriel, and the Quran contains information that is very similar to the Hebrew Bible, which is the Old Testament. So when diving deeper into the beliefs of Islam, there are 5 basic beliefs of it. For starters, they believe in one God, which they address as Allah, which is not a different God than the Christian God. Allah is just simply their word for God in Arabic. Belief in prophethood, so as previously mentioned, they believe in Muhammad, Jesus, Abraham, all those. They believe in the justice of God. They believe in the imams, which are, from what I read, comparable to apostles. They're kind of like know-alls. And finally, belief in the day of judgment, which is similar to the Christian belief that you are judged before going into heaven. Also key to highlight when talking about the Islam faith is the 5 pillars of faith, which is what they believe are essential to being a Muslim. And they believe that first you must declare your faith. Second, you must do obligatory prayer, which they pray 5 times a day. And when they pray, they always pray to the east, facing Mecca. They believe in compulsory giving. They believe in fasting in the month of Ramadan, which is done twice a year. And at the end of Ramadan, they are doing a celebration called Eid. And if you didn't know, Eid was yesterday. And then also they believe in pilgrimage to Mecca, which is their holy land. So moving into places around the world in which Islam is taught, this gives percentages of where the main focuses are. So if you notice, it's primarily in the Middle East and in the Africa area, but it is taught all over the world, even if it isn't necessarily focused in that part of the world. So diving into the 2 main sects of Islam, there are the Sunni and the Shiites. And some differences between the two are that Sunnis believe that the leaders should be elected, so there's a little bit more of a democratic aspect to it, whereas the Shiite believe that the leader should be a descendant from Muhammad, which is actually what kind of split the religion itself, was the belief in who should be the elected leader. In Sunni, they make up the bulk of the Muslim faith. When I researched, it showed anywhere from 85 to 90% of Muslims were actually Sunni Muslim, which is what we focus on in the book we are reading. And then the Shiite Muslims are primarily in Iran, Iraq, and Lebanon. Something that they both hold true for them is belief in one God, belief in prophets, and the 5 pillars of faith, which they use to practice their religion. So moving into a more controversial issue, the hijab. When most people think of the hijab, they usually just think of the headdress, but there is actually a lot of different variations of the dress itself. It goes all the way from only being able to see the eyes of the woman to being able to see the entire face and being able to wear more modern clothes versus wearing blacked out clothes. So why women choose to wear the hijab? The decision to wear it is a personal choice. It's not something that is forced upon them, although there are, obviously parents and friends and peers who may pressure people to wear it. It is a visible sign of their faith, so like where Catholics would wear, or Catholics or any Christian would wear a cross on their neck, they use the hijab to represent that they are dedicated to their faith. The Muslim faith encourages modesty, so they basically really only like to see the face and the hands, and the only times that it is actually required to wear the hijab is one praying, one going anywhere like a mosque or a holy place, so as a sign of respect to your religion, and finally when a loved one passes away. So in a connection to the text, bringing it all back, Ruth focuses primarily on the Sunni section of Islam. So, like I said earlier, the Sunni is the more predominant side of the Islam faith. She specifically focuses in on the African American community because, as you probably have read, when going into her research project, she was kind of concerned that African Americans were hiding themselves behind the religion almost. And she said, quote, they were reproducing their oppression. Most African American choose to only wear the hijab when required, and this is something that is very torturous to them. And also something that isn't up on the slide that she pointed out in the text is that the Muslim faith is seen by outsiders as being male-dominated, that they have a lot of control over their women, but she points out that a lot of women that she talked to do take a more female approach to it. So there's the male-dominated usual aspect of it, but there is also the kind of feminist form of the religion. Sources? That's it.
All right, thank you.